Hey everybody, T-Man again, bringing you guys another video, and once again doing my countdown of the 31 WrestleManias. Countdown. I'm counting down to all the worst WrestleMania of all time, all the way to the very best WrestleMania of all time, in my opinion. And right now, as I'm shooting this video, we are 30 days of WrestleMania, but this is ranked the 29th. WrestleMania right here on the countdown. What is the 29th best WrestleMania? I gave you, and I'm posting this on Saturday, so as you guys are all watching this video, we are 29 days away from WrestleMania, and over here I have ranked right here on this next WrestleMania, the 29th. The worst WrestleMania of all time I had, what? WrestleMania 11. The 30th WrestleMania of all time, I had WrestleMania 16. And now the 29th WrestleMania is WrestleMania 22. That's right. We are 29 days away, and I believe WrestleMania 22 here is the 29th best WrestleMania. And why? Let's get exactly into why. I run down the card and I tell you guys exactly why. And I'll tell you, as this countdown goes, as you saw in my WrestleMania 11 review being the worst one, I gave you exactly my reasons why I thought it was the worst. Yesterday at WrestleMania 16, on the 30th, I gave you exactly the reason why it was ranked. And now this one, WrestleMania 22, I gave you exactly why it was ranked where it did. Now this was a very, again, interesting year, and each review I get, they get more and more positive. Why? Because WrestleManias get more and more better and better, in my opinion. Remember, guys, this countdown is my opinion. You may have these WrestleManias ranked completely different, but if you've watched the storylines leading up to each and every WrestleMania, like I have, and remember the storylines, remember the payoff, remember all that, that is why it's ranked the way it is. So let's get into WrestleMania 22. We begin the card. And another thing, the reason why I ranked the way I do is I base it off of watchability. You know, how many times can you really sit down and watch this thing a lot? I mean, there's some WrestleManias, not giving too much away, like a WrestleMania 5, like a WrestleMania 17, 18, 19. Those WrestleManias I can find myself watching a lot, you know. I like tournaments. I can find myself watching WrestleMania 4 a lot because I love the tournament bracket. You know, there is so many, watchability is a big thing. In WrestleMania 22, you may maybe go back and maybe watch a match because there was some cool matches on here, and I'll tell you which matches are cool. Each and every WrestleMania, there's always, even on the worst one like 11, there's always a match that is good that will save the card, and usually that'll be the pay-per-view of that year. WrestleMania will do that. So we get in the first match of the card at WrestleMania 22. We have Kane and the Big Show versus Carlito, Caribbean Cool, and Chris Masters for the Tag Team Championships, which Kane and Big Show wins. Second match was the second ever Money in the Bank match, where we saw RVD winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then moving on from there, we had the United States Championship, JBL versus Chris Benoit, but JBL picking up the win. And then here's one match that does have a lot of replayability and was a highlight reel of WrestleMania, of this year's WrestleMania 22, and that is Edge versus Mick Foley, with Edge, you know, obviously putting them through the table in that iconic scene, which is still shown today on WrestleMania reels, where the table's on fire and Edge is spearing Mick Foley through that table. Next here is a match that, you know, history will probably look back at shaking their head, where the Boogeyman defeating Booker T with a chokeslam, picking up the 1-2-3 clean. That's right, the Boogeyman defeated Hall of Famer Booker T when they were trying to build the Boogeyman, who they still bring back as for comedic purposes. So there was a gimmick that never really got over serious. Eventually they kept bringing back Boogeyman as a comedy skit. But here, they at WrestleMania 22, they were trying to get him over as a heel, as a viable contender, beating a future Hall of Famer. And even right there at WrestleMania 22, you would have to consider Booker T a future Hall of Famer. Moving on from there, Mickie James defeating Trish Stratus, women's title. Undertaker in a casket match defeating Mark Henry. Shawn Michaels in the second match, I would think that would have some replayability. And even though it's Vince McMahon, that's a very bump-heavy match. Shawn Michaels picking up the win there. And another match that I ranked it the way I do is I am a Rey Mysterio fan. I don't want to make it act like I'm a hater on Rey Mysterio, but I'm sorry, I never bought into Rey Mysterio winning the World Heavyweight Heavyweight title. I know there is a lot of light guys that do win world titles, and I know a lot of people might say, well, Daniel Bryan and so many others, but Rey Mysterio was one guy I could never sink my teeth into as a World Heavyweight Champion, and I never got behind. And this triple threat match with Randy Orton and Kurt Angle, I didn't dig it. And I wouldn't say it's the main reason why it's ranked where it is, but I mean, just little things chip away at the scoring, and when you keep going on the WrestleManias, there's other matches. You know, you count how many matches are better compared to other WrestleManias, and with matches like the Boogeyman and Booker T, and Kane and Big Show against Carlito and Chris Masters and Tori Wilson, the nightgown match with Candice. I mean, you look back and you really just shake your head on a lot of the stuff. And then me not buying into Rey Mysterio the way I am. And let me tell you something. I'm not shitting on any of you guys that may have WrestleMania 22, 11, or 16 as some of your top WrestleManias. I wouldn't shit on that. These are just my opinions. But please bring in the conversation of me ranking WrestleMania 22 ranked 29 on my list. So moving on from there, Wilson and Candice Michelle. Wilson wins in. That was a nightgown Playboy bunny match or something like that. And then Triple H and John Cena. And this is when the Cena thing kind of flipped. Here is where the fans started driving away from the industry in truckloads. This was the start of it right here, is when John Cena beat JBL at WrestleMania 21. The fans were behind him. It was fine. Right when the fans started booing him, and this is where kind of it got started, this is where I felt like the fans could have been saved if they would have flipped Cena heel. But they didn't do that, and he never turned heel, and this was so critical. This was the most critical year here. I believe John Cena would eventually got cheered again if we would remind everybody. We had, at this point, this is the biggest mistake ever that WWE did, and it all started here at WrestleMania 22. I believe this was 2006. This was the year where it all started, because they had an opportunity here to show us why we got behind John Cena to begin with. It wasn't because of his wrestling skills. If you remember when he started off as the heel rapper, he was starting to get momentum, and that's why they switched him babyface, because everyone was cheering. They should have right there showed everybody the personality and the charisma and the mic skills and all the great stuff that John Cena has. Remind us. So if he would have gave us that flip and made him that cool heel, where he's bashing everybody and kind of has free reign, it would kind of have reminded everybody exactly why we liked John Cena, and maybe he would have drove a lot of the fans away, and bus loads. A lot of fans stopped watching after this year of 2006. This is where, I believe, in my opinion, WWE started going downhill. But anyways, John Cena made Triple H tap, and that is WrestleMania 22. So what did you guys think of that? That is the 29th best WrestleMania. Join me tomorrow when I ranked the 28th best WrestleMania, when we go all the way down, when we get to the number one best WrestleMania in the Team Man's opinion. It will be the day of WrestleMania 32. So until then, for you don't miss any of my countdown videos, any other wrestling video, the Raw reviews. I did not do SmackDown this week. I was very ill on Thursday night, so I did not watch SmackDown. So to watch all my other wrestling reviews, my fantasy bookings, and my MMA videos, make sure you subscribe for you don't miss a video. And until then, I will see you guys for the next video.